Hi guys, Asmo here, and today I wanted to share with you a few last-minute tips to help you more currency and to progress your Atlas faster in the next league. There are some things from the patch notes that I haven't seen a lot of people talk about, so I wanted to bring them to your attention because I think they could be immensely helpful in your league start. The first thing I want to talk about is the secret operation notable that has been changed. Basically, GGG has removed ornate strongboxes or operative strongbox. The operative strongbox was giving you Scarabs, and people were very upset about this. People were very sad, but a lot of people missed that there is actually a huge change that makes it even better, makes strongboxes even better for farming Scarabs. So there is a new set of modifiers on strongboxes that can give you additional Scarabs of a particular type, and this is huge because if there are any of the Scarabs that are more expensive, right, based on the economy of the league, if you have, for example, divination Scarabs that give you divination cards that a lot of people are going to be using early on, especially all of the groups that are going to be farming in the first week are going to be using a lot of them, they might be much more expensive than all of the other Scarabs, which might actually make it worth to roll strongboxes to target farm them. The way you would do this is you either find a strongbox, ornate strongbox, or a large strongbox, which are the most common strongboxes. These are just basically the basic strongboxes, not the special types. So if you find any of those, you can use engineering orbs to increase the quality on them, and then you can either alteration spam to get the right modifier, or you can also use scours and alchemy orbs. So you use either one of those to get the modifier that you want, depending on the weights, right? Because also it might be very rare to find, and then it wouldn't be worth it. But if the weight is reasonable, and you can reasonably within, a bunch of, I don't know, like 20 alterations or 30 alterations, get one of the good Scarab types, that can be very much worth rolling and can give you a way to target farm strongboxes. There are also Scarabs that can give you a lot of extra multipliers basically to your loot. So increased effect of explicit modifiers on ambush Scarab of potency would give you better odds at, not better odds, but better like magnitude, better effect of all of these positive modifiers that give you extra items, like strongboxes drop extra items that can be increased, increased quantity of items dropped. You can also get modifiers that give you like item level or things like that, or rarity. Whatever else you can get on these strongboxes can be amplified by this ambush Scarab of potency. You can get more strongboxes, of course, and then you can also get the 15% chance for strongboxes in area to be openable again. This is particularly useful because if you're rolling the strongbox, you're spending currency, so you want to get maximum loot per strongbox. You don't really care about getting more strongboxes. You could just go into the next map. It doesn't matter. Use the map device or use your Atlas and get guaranteed boxes. Doesn't matter. But the point is, you want to get as much loot as possible per strongbox. So this ambush of the hidden compartments is going to help with that. And then another thing that helps with that is the skill tree that gives you 10% here, and then you have 6% here, right? So we have 11, and then we have 15 here. So that is a 26% chance for strongboxes to be openable again. And then that strongbox can be opened again. So it's actually this is more like 30% more loot multiplier, which is really crazy. And it's going to be allowing you to farm, like target farm Scarabs, right? So depending on economy and depending on the weights of these modifiers, this might be very, very profitable. So that's one thing that you can look out for. The next thing that you can look out for is map progression. So I saw a lot of people, I completely disagree with this, and this is going to be like a hot take of this video. A lot of people are pathing to Unwavering Vision, and I think this is such a noob trap. Okay, this is such a noob trap. This is such a bad way to play, in my opinion, if you're in trade league. In my opinion, if you're playing in SSF, this is probably the best way to progress the Atlas early. If you're not playing in SSF, this is terrible. So you're gonna disable Scarabs from dropping in your maps to get more points, so that you invest these points into Kirak missions, right? And put all of these things into get more Kirak missions, right? So you're gonna make less money on purpose because you're not speccing into money-making passives, and you're not getting any Scarabs, some Scarabs can be very expensive next league, but you're not getting any Scarabs, and you're naturally gonna pick up like increased Scarab drops in your maps by just pathing through the tree. But these people who are like recommending you to get Unwavering Vision are not gonna pass through these nodes. They're gonna just go for the map duplication and stuff like that. So you're not getting Scarabs, you're getting less money, and you're getting less money because not spending the passives on the right points, like for example getting betrayal early, like unlock, getting all of the league mechanic stuff, getting all of the altar stuff, getting all of the essence stuff, right? These are some of the things that you can get really early, but they're not going to be doing that because they want more Kirak missions. But if you are not literally the first person to red maps, right? If you're no, actually, even if you are the first person to red maps, that's probably going to be a bad idea, because you can simply buy a primal cyst color from the people who are going to be running the Harvest Beast memories the moment they get 2 maps. The moment people get 2 maps, they're going to be farming these. And when they're farming these, they want to keep buying more memories. So they need to sell their beasts. So they're going to list all of their beasts. And now you can buy beasts by bulk on the trade website. So you're going to be have great access to the primal cyst colors. And the primal cyst colors have been completely reworked. Now they're not giving you one of each Atlas mission because there are no longer other missions, right, that you can get. There's only Kirak missions. So 5 Kirak missions. The bestiary recipe for gaining one of each Atlas mission now instead causes you to gain 5 Kirak missions. So you can buy this and gain 5 Kirak missions. And it doesn't matter if they're white, because if you've completed all of the white ones, you're gonna get uncompleted maps of higher tiers, right? You can use the same Kirak trickery that people used before. So that doesn't matter. You're gonna get tons of Kirak missions, and you're gonna spend a fraction of the extra currency that you're gonna make by having a better passive tree, right? And you're gonna have already like prepared your final passive tree. You're gonna spend less time on doing that as well, and you're gonna get more Kirak missions than you would have otherwise gotten. So I think this is by far the superior strategy. This is what I'm gonna be doing. I'm gonna be farming the memories probably early on, and then after getting that, I'm gonna have a bunch of these beasts, use them, get a bunch of Kirak missions, and then really quickly fill in my Atlas, right? That's gonna be, I think, the superior strategy, because keep in mind that a lot of the people who you're listening to for advice are doing things that you're not going to be doing, right? You're not going to be at 5 hours, like 5 hours, 30 minutes, killing Ether and Exarch. You're not going to be doing that most likely, right? And if you're not a person who's going to be doing that, then you can simply just buy Kirak missions. You can just buy Kirak missions. You don't need to break your whole tree for it, right? And like make less currency because you're not going to be dropping any Scarabs, which is the like main feature of this tree. Like if you type, okay, let's type Scarab. Look at this. Look at this whole freaking tree. Everything gives you Scarabs. So all of this does nothing for you when you pick the Unwavering Vision, right? So in my opinion, this is a terrible strategy for 90 something, like 99% of people probably. Like 95%, let's be conservative. 95% of people, Unwavering Vision, League Start, bad strategy if you're playing in a trade league. Just buy Kirak missions, make more currency, and pick up Atlas nodes for progression just regularly. You're gonna be dropping enough of them. If you do other league mechanics, you're gonna be spawning more monsters. Killing more monsters gives you more loot and more maps, so you will need less Kirak missions as well, right? So that's another thing. So that's a tip number 2. I think that's a very, very big one for a lot of people. It's gonna completely change their league start. The third tip I want to give you is to take advantage of the tattoos. Early on, there's probably going to be a lot of tattoos because people are going to be finding the embers and they want currency. So they're like, oh, tattoos. Tattoos are nice. I'm going to put it on them on a next zone I'm in. I'm going to kill some mobs and then I'm going to get tattoos and I'm going to sell them. I'm going to get a few chaos, right? So you get like few tattoos or you get like a couple tattoos and you get like few chaos. You buy the unique that you need for your progression and you're happy. So there's going to be a lot of tattoos circulating, especially early on, because a lot of people are going to be playing and using this thing and interacting with the league mechanic. So early on, they're probably going to be pretty cheap. There are a lot of very, very useful tattoos that can fix your build. So there are things like, for example, mana regen, right? If you're not scaling energy shield very early on, especially like during leveling, getting a couple of these tattoos completely solves your mana issues, makes it so that you don't need mana flask, and makes your build much better to play. So I would definitely recommend looking into this if you're struggling on mana, for example. Another thing is leech. Some builds don't have early access to leech. If you're playing on a side of a tree that doesn't have, like you're playing Templar, but you're trying to do attacks and you want to leech with the attacks, and you're also doing elemental damage, so like certain like physical leech modifiers do not affect you. This is great. It's generic attack damage leech, and this is available for any character. As long as you have a strength node somewhere, you can put this on and it's going to help you a lot. The next thing we have that is very, very useful is, for example, minion life. Early on, certain builds can struggle with the minion life because your specters might be dying, your AG might be dying, it might be in danger of doing that, and you have extra int nodes as a summoner very frequently, so you can put the extra minion life on that. There there are also other very, very useful things. There are resistances. You can fix your build in that sense by, if you miss a little bit of resistances, you can do that. And then also you can get the accuracy, which is also very useful. A lot of the time people have to pick up an extra wheel for accuracy in order to cap their accuracy because they don't have enough mana reservation to level their precision, and it's very difficult early on. They don't have good gear with a lot of accuracy yet. So you can get extra accuracy on your tattoos as well. This is huge. And then you can also get things like suppression. You can, instead of getting T1 bases and paying the extra premium price, you can get T2 spell suppression on your gear, but then get extra couple of tattoos, right? Which is going to compensate for that difference in like a couple of extra percentages of spell suppression. So this is another very, very useful thing. So as you can see, lots of very useful tattoos. I highly recommend looking at the list. You can find them in PoEDB, for example, and this is something that can make your build much easier to play. For a small investment of a few chaos, you can fix issues that otherwise would cost you either a lot of currency through gear, or it would cost you a lot of passive points. So you can just gain extra power for the redundant passive points that you have on your tree. And the last thing I wanted to talk about would be the passive skill tree again. There are a few things that I wanted to bring up to your attention and clarify for some people, because I've been getting questions about the passive skill tree as well. Some people have been asking about different league mechanic nodes for the Necropolis. So first of all, the unresolved anguish in these, there is a bunch of these that say unresolved anguish. So if you type unresolved, and then we see there's a bunch of stuff that says unresolved anguish. What is unresolved anguish? It's simply the itemized corpses that let you craft. So if you want to get the corpses that let you craft with the league mechanic, which is the main feature of the league mechanic, then you want to get as much as you can of these nodes that give you chance for the haunted monsters to have unresolved anguish. That's what you want. Now, another thing that you want also is pay attention to these nodes. So these nodes give you increased chances for either unique corpses, like the ones that let you craft uniques, the ones that let you craft extra, like higher tier modifiers, and the ones that give you meta modifiers, right? So these are all very, very useful. And depending on the economy, you might want to respec this, depending on what you like. But keep in mind that if you want a specific one, right? If I only wanted like the unique, if I don't care, if I don't want to craft, I just want to get the uniques, right? I shouldn't have these spec in the thought of like, oh, what if I get like a more expensive corpse and sell it? Because this would lower my chance, right? So as you're increasing a chance of one of these, then you're lowering the chance of the others, right? So if you only care about one, then you need to spec only one of them. If you care about two, then you need to spec only two. So I'm gonna be probably skipping the unique ones, because early on I would probably prefer crafting than making a unique. Later on, if we know that a certain unique is more expensive, then probably it's gonna be better to buy these corpses, because you also might be able to like get duplicates, right? If you don't know, the way that you craft uniques in the new league mechanic is you need to get a corpse, like multiple corpses of the same family. So you need to get each corpse of the same family. And I don't know if it's simply a count, like you need to get 5 corpses of that family, or if you need to get 5 specific corpses of that family. So you might be getting duplicates. So it might take like 15 or 30 corpses of uniques before you can get 5 of the specific ones for the specific family, so that you can craft the unique item. So I definitely think these ones are more flexible. That's why I would go with them, because they would always allow you to craft and use them in many different ways or sell them. Same with the uniques, but in terms of the selling, but the unique ones are not that flexible, right? The unique ones, you just craft the unique and that's it. And there is some flexibility in how do you craft the unique, but you still require all of the family members to be present in order to make the unique in the first place. Another thing to consider is also, if you specifically want more corpses, you probably shouldn't pick the devoted modifiers, right? So increased chance for devoted modifiers is going to probably hinder the amount of unresolved anguish. I don't know exactly if it works like that in the league mechanic, but this gives you chance for the haunted monsters in your map to have unresolved anguish, and the haunted monsters are different from the devoted monsters, right? So that's one thing that you can keep in mind, that if you want to maximize the amount of corpses you're getting for crafting, maybe you actually don't want the devoted monsters. The devoted modifiers should be pretty rare anyway, and they will give you like bonuses to XP, extra loot, and things like that. We'll see. Maybe they're very common and very good, and it's worth getting, because they simply increase your quant and things like that, so that you make a lot of currency that way. But if you're not juicing your maps, maybe the devoted modifiers actually are not going to be that good, and it's simply going to be better to just alchemy go and get a lot of corpses that way. So that's another thing that I would definitely pay attention to. And the last thing I want to talk about is actually something related to essence. There is a node here on the essence tree that I think a lot of people are very confused about. So this has two different modifiers. First one says that a map boss is granted a random essence modifier from any imprisoned monster spawn in slain in your maps. So first of all, early on picking this might make the map bosses too difficult and too slow for you, right? The map bosses affected by these modifiers might just go crazy, and it might be just slowing your progress so much that it's better to just go next map and skip that. But if we disregard the map boss modifier, because we're actually not sure exactly how it would work, how many of them will stack, does it get all of the essences and you drop all of these essences again? So we will have to see that in practice. So let's disregard this first part of this node for a second, but I want to talk about the second part of the modifier, because the second part of the modifier does literally nothing. Okay, I want you to understand this, and I want you to imagine this. Like, the using remnants of corruption on imprisoned monsters in your maps replaces all essences with one of the essence on the imprisoned monster. So let me give you an example. You have an essence monster that has 3 essences. It has a deafening, really good essence, it has some mid essence, and it has a terrible essence, right? So you have 33% chance that all of these essences will become the best one, 33 that all of them will become the mid one, and 33 that all of them will become the terrible one, right? So it's equally weighted. So if you kill 3 monsters like that, then on average, one will become, like, all 3 will be the best. On the other one, all 3 will be the mid, and on the other one, all 3 will be the worst. That's how on average this will work out over time, right? So you will be getting 3 of each essence just as you were getting in the beginning. It does nothing. That line on the thing shouldn't exist, right? It's like this is like a gambler bait, right? Like, you will gamble, you know, if you have 3 essences, you will make a third of them worse, a third of them better, a third of them the same. Like, there is literally no use in doing that. I would actually argue, no, there's actually no difference. Yeah, there's no difference. So don't use this node unless you really care about the boss thing, right? If you don't care about the boss thing, the second line, just act as if it doesn't exist, because it literally does nothing. And lastly, I'll be updating my personal loot filters and posting them on the Patreon for Patreon supporters. So if you're following my filters, they're going to be updated shortly before the league start, and I'm going to make a post on Twitter and also on Discord about it. You can join my Discord, link is in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great league start.